everybody. We are so glad you're with us today. Welcome into Undisputed. I'm Jen Hale. That is Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Hi, guys. How are we today?
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, the floor is yours right out of the box. First up, I want you to tell all of our loyal fans out there how Tom Brady is washed. He should just give it up and retire and go on home.
You watched the game yesterday. You saw it. They saw it also.
Is that what you were going to say?
I ain't got nothing to say. I don't have a thing.
That's all you have to say?
No.
Well, then I got one thing to say. How about them Cowboys?
Skip, you embarrassed. Skip.
We are 10-3.
Everybody saw your tweets yesterday.
10-3.
Everybody saw your tweets yesterday. Skip,
Did
don't
you
do
see
that.
my tweets?
No, everybody saw it.
How do you know everybody saw it? What, 2 people on Twitter that follow you?
No.
Okay.
Everybody saw your tweets. You were not banging the table talking about, look at my Cowboy.
Well, I was at the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
We did what we were supposed to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You were supposed to win by 4?
Well, we were supposed to win, and that's all that matters.
No, you said 38-10.
We are going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles in 2 weeks. That's all I know for sure.
Okay.
Here we go.
We're going to see?
Yep.
Okay.
Keeping stuff in the tank for that game, I bet. A W is a W, and let's start there, gentlemen. The Cowboys, the largest favorites of the season against the Texans yesterday, but it took an Ezekiel Elliott rushing touchdown with under a minute left to secure the 27-23 win. Indeed, yes, Shannon, 4 points. Dak Prescott finished the game with just under 300 passing yards and a touchdown, but also, a pair of interceptions. Shannon, should Cowboys fans be embarrassed or emboldened by yesterday's performance?
Well, the Cowboys fans can be whatever they want to be, but we've got 6 years of body of work. We've got a season of work with this Dallas Cowboys team. They're inconsistent. And they were very inconsistent yesterday. They were sloppy with the football, Skip. Dak turned it over twice. They got stuff at a goal-to-go situation on 4th down. So so this is what we've seen this team do. We've seen this team fly high, soar, but we've also seen this team lay eggs. A couple of weeks ago, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Detroit was going in to take the lead. They punched the ball out, and then they take off. We see the same thing 2 weeks ago, I think, with the Colts. They're going in. The Colts are going in for a 2-point conversion to tie the game, and then all of a sudden the Colts turn the ball over. And then yesterday they make Jeff Driscoll and Davis Mills running around the field, and they're just making plays all over the place. He's like, is this the Cowboys defense?
By the way, Jerry Jones said we made them look like Brett Favre. Thank you.
Well, okay. So he saw what I saw also.
Yes.
I'm seeing guys roll out of the pocket, throw the ball for touchdowns. Guys all of a sudden look like Stephon 2 and 3 receivers, looking like true number 1 receivers, like they've been all pro for the last 5 or 6 seasons.
Yeah, somebody named Chris Moore. Go ahead.
Chris Moore.
Yep.
But Skip, your offense is what was really disappointing yesterday. And you look at Dak on passes of 10-plus air yards. He was 6 of 14, 148 yards. He had good yardage, but he was under 50% completion percentage. And on such passes this season, Skip, he has 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. That's kind of who Dak is. Tony Pollard is still your most explosive offensive player. You guys, 31 rushes. What you have, 31 rushes? Again, you're out of balance. 31 rushes, 39 pass attempts. I don't know. Maybe the Cowboys don't get these numbers that we get. Maybe they get some other kind of numbers that when you run the football considerably more than you throw it, you're like unblemished. You're damn near unbeatable. But when you flip it over, you either lose the game or you bring a team that you should handle handedly, you bring them into the mix. So maybe the Cowboys are not getting the stats that we're getting, Skip. But this is what we've seen. Cowboys enter the game, Skip, favored by 17, more than anybody.
17.5.
Okay, 17.5.
By far the largest spread of the year. By far.
And it will probably be the largest spread of the year.
It will be. I would agree.
And the Texans are playing without the top 2 receivers, Brandon Cook, Nico Collins, and then the rotating quarterbacks. These quarterbacks were combined 425 coming into the game, and they were 20 of 27, 213 yards, touchdown, interception. Skip, now all of a sudden, you saw what the Jags did on the road to Tennessee. Now, all of a sudden, what was a foregone conclusion? You were talking about, we got this one in the bag. All of a sudden, this one ain't in the bag anymore. It might be in the bag, but the bag is open. So at any given time, whatever's in the bag can jump out of the bag because you haven't closed it.
I would agree.
And then you come home against the Eagles, Skip. We saw this team, less than a month ago, Skip, go up to Green Bay and have a 14-point lead heading to the 4th quarter, and somehow you found a way to lose the game. So the Cowboy fans, Skip, they can be disappointed, or you can be excited that you won the game. You can be emboldened, like all of a sudden it's a foregone conclusion, but your team is inconsistent. And you know this for a fact, Skip. If you play like they played yesterday, or you play with the inconsistency in which they played with thus far, Skip, you're going home with 1 game. Now, I will say this. There's a good chance that I don't believe you're going to catch the Eagles. So I believe you'll be sitting in the 5 seed, which will get the 4 seed, which will be the winner of the NFC South. If I'm the Cowboys, I think I will stay right where I am. I don't want to go nowhere because I want Carolina, I want Atlanta, or I want the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't want to see anybody else.
They got the Buccaneers on opening Sunday night, and what happened?
Have you seen the Buccaneers since? Do you think? Have you seen the Buccaneers? I don't know if your team. I might need to get you. That's what I'm gonna get you for Christmas. I'm gonna get you a TV this Christmas that show Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in all their non-glory. But Skip, your Cowboys are inconsistent. You're very fortunate to win the football game yesterday, but you won a football game because that's what 1 and 11 teams. That's what they do. They find a way to win the game. Lose the game. Because when Dak threw the interception, Skip, I just sat back. I said, yeah, got this one. They're going to punch this thing in, go up by 10. Dak, you get a bunch of yards. You probably score with like 30 seconds left in the game.
And what happened?
And you won't be able to get the one. On 4th down, they run a whirly bird option like this guy is Jamel Holloway. Like he's back in Skip, back in old Oklahoma days, Skip. You know they run the whirly bird option.
It's called spin option. And my school, the University of Oklahoma, the school I grew up loving, perfected it. They invented it and they perfected it, and that was a disaster.
So you've never seen the NFL team run it?
I think it was a busted play, actually. I think he went the wrong way and then tried to go the right way too late. That's what I think happened. And Shannon Sharp threw something at the television.
I did. I absolutely did. I like, Lovey, Pep, what the hell were you guys doing?
What were you doing? Okay, my turn. I'm actually going to answer the question that was posed because you didn't take a side. You wouldn't pick. You said you didn't care what side I'm on.
No.
Okay, Dallas Cowboy fans, you should be emboldened by what you saw yesterday because it started great and it ended even greater.
Is that what you mean it started great? Skip, you were behind for the most part of the game.
Did you see the opening drive? It was flexing firepower. It was 76 yards in 9 plays. It's exactly what you should do against a team that is, 110-1?
Yes.
And a 17.5-point dog. And it's a game that Shannon Sharp and I both picked 38-10 Dallas, right?
Yes.
That's how you open that game. You go 76-9, and they actually ran the ball more than they threw it in that drive. Yeah. They just ran it right down the Texans' throats, and it's the kind of drive that should say, that's it, go back to Houston with the tail between your legs, right?
See, that's what you thought. You thought the Texans was going to go back to Texas.
And my defense roared out and held the Texans to a very quick 3-and-out, and it's time for a punt, right?
Yep.
Before I get to that, before I get to the sequence, my big picture answer here is I saw many, many, many things yesterday that were troubling to the point of revolting for me as a Dallas Cowboy lifelong diehard fan. But in the end, it is hard to win games in this league. In the end, it's sometimes the hardest to beat a team that is a 17.5-point dog when your eyes are past Jacksonville all the way to Christmas Eve. I believe my team is looking ahead to a fault to Christmas Eve because they are going to beat the Eagles on Christmas Eve at Jerry World. They are going to wreak revenge on the Eagles. They know it. I know it, and unfortunately, the Texans didn't know it because the Texans were sitting pretty as an arch rival that I told you on Friday. It's a one-way rivalry. Houston versus Dallas has historic rivalry, but the Cowboys don't take the Texans seriously, especially this year, while the Texans viewed this as their quote-unquote Super Bowl against those Dallas Cowboys, America's team. We're going to go in there and embarrass America's team. And I still think Lovey can coach. I know they're awful right now, but I've always respected and admired him as a coach. And I thought once upon a time, this is going back to like 2010.
When he had the Bears?
No, I'm going back to Pep Hamilton. I thought he was going to be the next hot new head coach, and Herman Edwards at ESPN kept pulling me aside saying, Pep Hamilton, keep your eye on Pep Hamilton. He's the next guy. He's the it guy. And I don't know what happened, but he called a masterful game yesterday, I thought, given what he had to work with.
Except when they got the ball.
I got it. But he kept them in the game because they kept going at Micah with all kinds of screens and option plays and RPOs and one thing after another. They did a very good job of just hanging in the game, if not staying in command of the game for the most part. So all I know is we finished with a flourish. All I know is I'm going to agree with what Jerry's last line to the reporters was yesterday. I think we're a better team than when we entered the game. And you can laugh at that all you want, but I do think there's some good scar tissue out of this game.
Okay.
You saw your mortality flash right before your very eyes, because for the longest time, and by the way, when I tweet, I just tweet in live. I'm doing it in real time. So I say what I see. I am a terribly objective Cowboy fan. And listen, if they stink, I say we are stinking.
Right.
And when they end